Guys, now is the time to buy a Rolex watch. It's the perfect moment. You won't get another chance like this for a long time. And I'm going to go through the reasons why. Let's do it. Yes guys, now is the perfect time to strike while the iron is hot and get that dream watch of yours, whether it be Rolex, AP, Patek, anything that sells way higher than list. And I'm going to give you 5 reasons why, and Lenny's going to help me with the list. Hit it, Lenny.
The crash is over. Hurrah.
If it ever was a crash in the first place, I actually personally don't think it was. I'm going to make a video on that in the coming days. But yes, some of the prices did come down, came back down to where they were before that craziness at the end of last year, the beginning of this year. That was just an anomaly, guys. That's all it was. But they have come back down to what you might call normality. I mean, you have to be crazy to call this shit normality. A Daytona is still 40,000 bucks. It's still way above. It's just because it's not 50 anymore. People are getting their knickers in a twist. The prices have settled. They were dropping, and now they're sitting. In fact, some are beginning to kind of edge their way back in the upward direction again. Now, you think everything's going to just sit there the way it is like this? No. What have we learned from history? Look back at everything that's happened. They're gonna go up. So now's a really good time. It's hit the bottom. You don't know when you're in the bottom. That what do they call it? The trench. You know, the bottom of the valley, until it starts going up again, and then you're going to start kicking yourself, going, shit, that was the bottom a few weeks ago. I should have grabbed that Rolex Silver Daytona while I could. For those who bought a watch at a crazy price, you know, back in January, I'm sorry for you guys. But for anybody else buying a Rolex, an AP, Patek, whatever it is, whatever watches that have been affected by this dip, this lull in the market, they've come back down to earth now, and they're only going to start climbing again. Maybe they won't get as crazy as they were at the beginning of this year. It's unlikely, but who knows? I mean, how can you ever guess this stuff? Anybody who pretends they know, you know, for sure is a bit crazy. But we can see that the prices have stopped. They've settled now, and again, some of them are creeping up again. So carpe diem, guys, jump on it, as the northern Italians here say, chapa dentro.
Oh, they're desperate, guys.
The sellers are more desperate than ever. They've just gone through a very slow summer. Summer is normally slow to begin with. The past few haven't been because of COVID, of course, but now this one, everybody's pretty much back to normal. They're spending their money on holidays and so on, so it's the usual thing. But coupled with everything that happened with the market and so on, the ADs, not the ADs, but the grey market sellers, the flippers, all of these guys, they're more desperate than ever, and they'll probably take any offer you throw at them. So if there was ever a good time to lowball a seller, it's right now, guys. So take advantage in their most desperate moment. After all, they had no problem taking advantage of you while they were riding high, did they? So life's unfair, but this is the way it goes. What you lose on the swings, you gain on the roundabouts.
Has anything really changed?
I was at my Rolex ED just the other day. I was picking up this watch from a second little service it had, and an issue with the bezel. They took care of it immediately. And I asked them on my way out, hey, has everything changed a little? Are you feeling a temperature shift because of what's happening on the grey market? They looked at me like I had 10 heads. They're like, and they pointed at the cabinet, their Rolex cabinet display, and there was nothing in it. They're like, nothing's changed here. Availability is still rare. The watches are still hard to get. We see very few coming through here, and any that do are already sold from ages ago, people on the list and so on. Nothing has changed, guys. These watches are still hard to get. They're very lusted after. Had that changed, You know, had Rolex just said, okay, now we're making 5 million watches a year instead of 1 million or 800,000 or whatever they make, then you'd be looking at a sea change. Actually, nothing has changed at all. I mean, it has for the grey market, but that's a whole other story. The very thing that got us all here in the first place is still there. So really, actually, nothing has changed. It's just a lot of talk, a lot of paranoia, a lot of desperation, and fear, you know? And fear. What's that line from Point Break? Fear causes hesitation, and hesitation will cause your worst fears to come true.
We've seen it all before, guys.
If you haven't noticed, this is how the market goes with everything, not just with watches, but certainly with watches as well. Up and down and up and down. Things, you know, the tide ebbs and flows, doesn't it? This is the way it goes. Now, yes, there's been a pretty crazy one that just happened. But, you know, some waves are bigger than others. Does that mean everybody wave is going to, does it mean it's the end of the world? No. It's just we went through kind of a weird dip. It was like the perfect storm of stuff. COVID came to an end. People are back out. The war in Ukraine, etc., etc. So much stuff all happened at the same time. It just created this anomaly after another anomaly that just happened, which is the price is going nuts. I mean, completely crazy. Nobody can explain it to this day. Why on earth? That's the big question. The question isn't why did they crash now? The question is, why did they get so crazy in the first place? Now the prices are just back to where they were before that crazy anomaly that just took place.
Take your revenge, fellas.
Remember all that complaining you were doing, all the hate you were throwing at the flippers months ago, saying they were ruining the hobby for everyone else and so on? Now is your time to get back at them, to take your revenge. The flippers are fucked. These are the guys who put down a lot of money to buy all the hype watches they could, and now they find themselves caught with their pants down. I've seen a lot of flippers sell the watches for exactly the same price as they bought them. They just don't have the money, the cachet to weather through this storm, so they're getting out while they can. Take your revenge. Get them right now. See if you can get them to part with their watches even at less than what they paid for them. Why not? These guys don't give a shit about you. They never did. They were ready to fleece you for every dime you had. They'd sell their mother if they could.
Message received.
Alright guys, I think I've made myself abundantly clear. I hope you got the message. I don't think there's any better time than right now to buy the watch of your dreams. Obviously certain watches weren't affected by this at all. Stuff like this, the pre-ceramic stuff, was not really touched, neither was Omega, Breitling and so on. It's just the hype watches, the Hulks, the root beers, the Nautiluses, the Nautili or whatever, the Royal Oaks, those things. And you got to grab the wave now that it's passed. You got to get on that with your surfboard, guys. It was a big crazy wave that went up, swelled up, and now it crashed back down again. Now we're back to where we were. Now you got to jump in, okay? I think I've beaten the point to death at this point, so I'm gonna let you guys go. Thanks for watching the channel. I will see you in the next one.